This is Radio Plasma, a space dedicated to the exchange of ideas, conversations, stories, music, performances, and randomness. Listen at radioplasma.com. Also, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Play, TuneIn, and Stitcher.
Welcome to Radio Plasma. I'm Johan Rashivega, and today we have full house here in the studio, and we want to welcome Lady Moon and the Eclipse, hailing from Brooklyn, New York, and that means multicultural blending is representing, and this is a beautiful thing to have because this is all about what we are doing this type of sessions in here to embrace diversity. So it is so beautiful to have this opportunity to talk to all of you and to get to enjoy your music tonight here in Holyoke, that you are having your performance at Gateway City Art. So such an honor. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So if you would like to introduce yourself so we can know who is who in the band.
I'm Arlen. I play keyboards in the band.
Hey, I'm Jonathan and I play bass.
I'm Ngonda and I'm lead singer.
My name's Ken. I play the drums.
I'm Ntangou and I sing backup vocals.
I'm Nkoula and I also sing backup vocals.
And one thing that is important to send out is that the three of you ladies are sisters.
Yep.
Yes, and twins, fraternal.
We're twins.
Me and her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a family affair that got together, all of you, doing this beautiful fusion of music that has soul, R&B, a little bit of afrobeat, and that universality that we can get from the music made in Brooklyn is like that unique flavor that only Brooklyn can create when you have this melting pot of cultures and influences and all of them coming together, creating a very unique and amazing energy. And that is the result. You have one album titled Believe, but then you are also working on your second production, which is in a way, what defines a little bit the name that you want to have for the type of music you are doing, right? The Cosmic Soul.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that. What is your concept of the Cosmic Soul?
Yeah, so we are working on our debut full-length album, Journey to the Cosmic Soul. And that has been a very much larger production than Believe. So it's been about 3 years, but we're actually getting very close to kind of wrapping it up and hoping for a spring release in 2020. So Cosmic Soul, well, it's Journey to the Cosmic Soul. So in a lot of ways, to me, it's like a journey to learning each other, like learning who we all are as a multicultural collective and what all of our sounds are and what makes all of us infinite in music and creation. And so it's kind of like the journey to getting to this like sound and also this like infinite place, which we call the Cosmic Soul, which I call the Cosmic Soul, which is like, you know, it represents something that's very universal. So it's like, that's, you know, it has like a celestial name. But yeah, maybe we could also talk about it because it's something that we're all a part of.
I mean, she did a good job at giving like the overall understanding, because I think it's good to also, like art, keep things open for interpretation. But yesterday at a show that we did, what was it for the
Biodynamic.
She said something about, she said Cosmic Soul, and then she was saying grounding, and then I started thinking like soul, like feet, like the soles of your feet, and then cosmos, so you're kind of like bringing the cosmos into like the ground, kind of like making it that. So that was a cool way to interpret it, and I feel like it can always be changing, you know, the definition of that.
And that is something that I noticed, that you are so very well connected with the energy that is surrounding us and nature, and how this is the fuel for creating and getting the inspiration to make the music that you're making all together. How did you guys got all together?
Yeah, so it's kind of like almost a long story, is it? It's kind of a long story. Basically, Arlen, who's the keyboard player, and we met in Hudson, which is my hometown, and which is also where all of this started. And he moved to the city. He was on his way to the city from California, and a good friend of ours, both of ours, kind of connected us and was like, you should meet him, you should meet her, like, come to this open mic. And so I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, like I really appreciate it when people do that, when they're like, you should meet someone, you should meet someone. I take that very seriously. And so I put an effort to doing those, to going out of my way to meet people. And I met Arlen. I thought it was really cool. Like, you know, I could already feel like his spirit, and, you know, how he really does have like this very humble passion for music. And I was just like, okay, like, you know, that's cool. Like, it's good to know him. And then he moved to the city. So I was kind of like, I don't know how we're going to work together. Like, I live in Hudson. But then I eventually did move to the city, and then we eventually started to connect. And we were just like jamming out on stuff. Like, we didn't really do anything serious at first. It was kind of like, here's a song I have, here's a song I have. Like, how can we come together to create? And then that happened for about 3 years, right? Of us just doing shows together eventually. And then I guess my father passed away, and I was at Hunter studying music at the time. And I just felt this need to like do Lady Moon the Eclipse again. Like, I need to do this vision that I have and try it again. And I was like, Arlen, like, let's do this. Let's do this together. Let's put this together. Like, you know, we've been working together for a while. Like, I really trust you. I trust your energy. I think that together we can really kind of create this thing. And then Arlen and I were both like looking for musicians to kind of like fill in the other spaces. And then he kind of brought Ken into the game. And so he was like, yeah, I got this. He literally said, I got the drummer for the band.
Yeah, I was actually not even in New York at the time when he invited me to join the band. It was like we it was cool because Arlen and I had a connection through a production company we worked with called Piano Fight in San Francisco. And he was with the early years, I was kind of in the middle years, and we kind of like we missed each other. Like, he left when I joined the company, and so I knew about Arlen through just his reputation. People were like, oh, you don't know Arlen? Oh, you got to meet Arlen. You got to play music with Arlen. Da, da, da. So by the time we finally met up in 2013, I was here for a visit in New York for a visit, and we met up for a jam. And then when I told him I was moving out to New York, he was like, I got this project for you. I got this project for you. Before I even arrived in New York, I was signed up for, to join, to try out for a band.
I got this wife for you too. Because they actually married.
Yeah, we actually got married in 2017. So, but yeah, that's how I joined the project, is through Arlen's invitation.
Yeah. And that same year, I went to a party that my roommate had invited me and my sister. Me and my sister actually had just moved into an apartment together, our own little apartment for the first time, and which was kind of like one of my goals when I moved to the city, was to reconnect with my twin. And so I also like convinced her to be in the band.
No, it wasn't. It was like a twist your arm behind your back. Like, what else are you gonna do? Aren't you gonna support me? Like, yeah.
Not exactly. But,
no, it wasn't like
she's
that.
an interesting translator, but so that also happened that same year, and then also that same year we were invited to a party, which was actually Jonathan's annual Prince party. Was it?
I don't know if it was that or if it was. I think it might have been like a birthday. No, it was in the summer, right? Because we were all on the
Yeah,
rooftop.
it was in summer.
My version of the story is that they crashed my party, and that's how I met them. Because all of a sudden there were these two random people, which was great. I mean, this was open to everyone, so it was like a welcome crashing.
Yeah.
But we kind of hit it off and talked about music. But it took a while for me to join. It took like I think a year and a half after the party.
Right. I was introduced to his friends, and someone was telling me, oh, you should check out these brothers that do music. And then, but when I went there to meet them, they were like, you should check out this bass player. Like, he should check him out, like, work with him. Like, he's incredible, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. And then, like, they were kind of talking to both of us, like, you should work with her. Like, kind of like a similar situation, like the friend that introduced Arlen and I felt. So then that's kind of how that was initiated. And then, yeah.
And then Jonathan came over for an audition, which is another.
Yeah,
And so he came over to audition at my apartment with just the piano and Ngonda singing, and he came over and his bass didn't work, which he said had never happened before, but
It never had, for the record. In 15 years I owned that bass. It never happened
was
before.
crazy.
yeah, he plugged it in, it didn't work, and we tried everything, and then it was like, well, we can't, hear this electric bass out of the amp, let's just, just play. Like,
Yeah,
let's
just
just
play
play and
silent.
like, and we'll hear it like acoustically,
In the
even though it's an
spirit
electric
of
bass.
music.
And we played, and the groove was there. Like, we felt it.
Yeah,
so
we
it
felt it.
it didn't require more than that.
Right.
He was in.
It was an embarrassing moment for me, but it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, it just floated in. Floated in. Yeah, I was traveling a lot. Traveling the world. One of our songs on the
Right,
latest
one of
EP.
the songs came out of
inspired
Nkoula
by
coming
me.
into the band. Travel the world.
Yeah, but I was just traveling a lot and, coming to the city, visiting my sisters and going to their rehearsals. I was always a fan of the music, and one of the members before me, just scheduling things didn't end up working out, and it just kind of naturally happened for me to come in and join my sisters singing. And we grew up singing together as well, and like traditional Congolese dancing and drumming ensemble. So we already had that connection of performing together, so it kind of just naturally made sense for me to come into this cosmic alignment.
Kula was at the rehearsals before she was in the band. She was already at the rehearsals
Precisely.
hanging out. So she already knew the music by the time she joined the
Yeah, I
band.
knew
So
all
it
the
was
songs.
easy for you to
Yeah.
integrate fully and
Yeah,
officially to the band.
absolutely.
She was like the understudy.
sub.
We had because there's been different musicians, and we've been trying to find like the right ones. And you remember the journey. But, yeah, right.
It's the
And
drummer,
then
that bass
Koola's,
player.
she was always coming, and we had other singers, but she was always like, I'm just waiting for my turn.
Waiting for the invitation.
What it means to you, particularly when talking about three sisters representing and playing music that talks about your own roots and origins, Congolese music. So how does this representation stands out for you when you're creating your music and being not only representing Brooklyn as the melting pot of awesome music for the world, but also your own representation from Congolese culture?
Well,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say really quickly because Ntangou wants to talk, but we have it is very important, and it really came, it became more of like an important thing to incorporate after my father passed away, and so my brother was also someone who incorporated like face paint and adding more like African beats into his music to kind of keep our father's legacy alive. That he had, he was one of the founding members of the National Ballet of the Congo. So, he kind of carried the traditions of Congolese music and sounds and helped to spread it throughout the world with what he was doing. And I felt like, and he was so traditional and so about like the culture and staying true to it that when he passed, it was like, oh my God, how are we going to keep this? Because we are the rest of what's left. And so to us, I feel like it was also just very important to like find ways to kind of incorporate that with face paint and like the sounds good.
Yeah. No, she said everything I was gonna freaking say. But I was pretty much gonna I'm just gonna reiterate what she said, but it's definitely a responsibility to keep my father's legacy, because even when he was in this realm, he was always like preaching to us like, you guys are not American, like you guys are like, this is not, you also have African roots, like don't forget who you are, because you know, in my opinion, like when you do live in America, this kind of like cultural like suppression where you just everybody's just American, or everybody's just doing the American way, and it's like you guys have all of this rich culture. You guys grew up with so much tradition, all of these songs, all this beautiful instruments that we grew up with. Like, don't forget about that, you know. So after his passing, it really, you know, and even for me, like incorporating some of like the chants and some of like the songs that we learned from him into our lyrics, it just helps me feel like, and even the maquillage I wear helps me feel like, you know, a small part, because there's even like dancing and things that we can incorporate that traditional, but it's like keeping him like we're still, you know, like don't think we forgot where we're from.
Yeah, like the regalia, like kind of approaching music performance as also a sacred act, like a story, like something that also tells a story, you know, because especially in Africa, but I feel like this is the case for most cultures, most like indigenous cultures of the past, that, you know, when they would perform, you were telling a story to keep your traditions and to keep your culture alive. And so to us, it's also like, you know, we're creating our own little culture, like our own little tribe and tradition as a multicultural collective, and this is how we want to tell our story of how we do it and you know, what we can do.
So I can imagine how meaningful, how powerful it is for you every time that you are on stage singing, performing, and honoring the legacy of your father. Because that is, now it makes even more sense about the meaning of this cosmic soul. Is all about that energy that is embedded in the three of you, honoring your father's memory. This is such a beautiful sharing part of what it means, your music and your work, and I really appreciate that you're sharing that with us tonight.
Thank you for asking.
Guys, how do you feel being part of such a powerful group and conjunction of energies, creating this and also celebrating music, particularly when it happens in Brooklyn?
It's being a part of this group and working with all of these people has definitely helped me to realize the ritual aspect of performance and how spiritual it can be. I've played music since I was little, and I've always listened to music and loved going to see music, and music has always been like such an essential part of my life. This has taken it to another level where like seeing what we're doing as important, and not just something I love to do and something that's fun and something that feels great, but actually like that this is something important. And it's helped me to realize that. I'd never felt that before in any of the previous bands or music that I had created before.
Yeah, it's been an honor, and it's been really humbling. And I think one of the most treasured things, I mean, there are so many, and Arlen was very eloquent about the energy of performance, the spirituality of performance, but I really value the experience of diversity and of alignment in between six people who come from very, very, very different backgrounds, all around the world, different personalities, different musical traditions and histories, and managing to align the way we do, which involves disagreements and what have you, but it's always for the sake of the music and for the sake of what we're trying to do. That has been tremendous. It's been an education, and yeah, really, really, really fun.
Yeah, I want to ride on that education wave right there because for me, like, you know, the music part is like, it's like super important, and it's like, you know, it's a ceremonial act, and in a way, like, I've even seen it, like, seen myself like gain my own increased self-worth through recognizing the music as a ceremonial act, which is, you know, when I was growing up, music wasn't, you know, I was supported in doing music, but it wasn't considered a serious thing or an important thing that I should be doing. So, you know, being in this project has allowed me to see that the value in what I'm doing, but also like the effect that being in this project has had on me has been like way beyond. It's been more like a spiritual like growth for me, because I come from a totally non-spiritual background, and then now I'm like totally embedded in, like, you know, learning my own spirituality through astrology and all the esoteric stuff that comes along with ancestors and things like that. So it's been a really like deep journey for me in that way.
I would like to check a little bit with all of you some of the most meaningful influences in terms of music, artists, musicians, composers, performers that you somehow took some of their energy towards your own development as musicians yourselves.
I'm going to start. So a big one, and it's relevant to what we're doing right now. Prince is a huge influence on me, and our last single just released a music video a week ago, just released the audio single like a couple of days ago. It's called Le Petit Prince, which is, and we wrote it around the time of Prince passing as an homage to him. And yeah, it's go check it out. It's on YouTube. It's a great song.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
Beautiful video.
Perfect plug.
Man, that's, you know, it's starting to become a really hard question to answer, because I feel like I'm always channeling like some inspirational artist that I don't even know. Like, you know what I mean? And then like, but definitely, actually when you said that, I was like, well, I remember when I was studying music and I became a really big fan of like Stravinsky. But what I liked about him was that he was very controversial in the classical music world, where, you know, they kind of like thought his music was like crazy and like, you know, this is disgusting, this is absurd. Like, what have you brought to this, you know, platform? But I thought it was amazing. And it's just so interesting how people, when you present something that's just you, it's your identity, it's very unique, you know, they may not like it at first, but then when you stay true in who you are, eventually they get it. Like, you actually start to open people's minds and their souls and their spirit by just being who you are. And I've been seeing him as like an inspiration for, you know, getting me through that world of like being this really unique sound that people may not automatically relate to, but just staying true to it and not like changing yourself. But, you know, there's a lot of artists that I channel, like, you know, like I've always been a fan of like Diana Ross, like, you know, Erykah Badu, you know, Mariah Carey, Jill Scott. I'm obsessed with Jill Scott. But it's interesting because I try not to sound like them. I just try to like channel them as guides to ground me in the intention I'm going for, more than like trying to sound like what they sound like. So yes, it's a challenging question, but recently I've been thinking about Stravinsky and being like, you know what? He just did what he wanted to do. He didn't care what people thought. He stayed true and grounded in what he believed in, you know, and then people eventually loved him for it. So he's been my inspiration lately for that part of music. It's hard to answer names, but definitely like performance aspect of like incorporating dancing, choreography, and like wearing like, I don't want to say costumes, but like wearing like a wear that you wear for a performance. And like there's so many artists that you could think of, people can reference when they think about that. And also just like rebels, you know, like I'm definitely into
artists that go against trending, against like the mass sound, or trying to go pop and all these things, or like radio hit people. Like I'm like, who's this person that nobody, you know what I mean? Like I'm always attracted to artists that are doing their own thing, like just in their own world.
Oh, yeah, Minnie Riperton's another one.
Yeah.
She did her own thing.
Huge influence for me. Definitely, like I'm kind of more like a rock drummer. Like my background is like rock drumming and stuff. It sound like that to this day, you know. And like huge influence is like West African music and dance. I studied that in college, and after college too. I was learning a lot, and those rhythms definitely. Those like kind of militant rhythms, but also very polyrhythmic and kind of heady rhythms are like part of how I hear the music. How I hear this music is kind of like that rock plus that polyrhythmic aspect.
One thing that I'm, and I'll get to it. One thing that I'm hearing is, for example, when you mentioned Prince, and then you mentioned Stravinsky, and I can think that both of them were ahead of their times, way ahead. And maybe that's why when they came up with their music, it was, what is this? Yeah. Some, they got it right away. For others, took time. And for others, still today is a discovery like, wow, and this happened when?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I can see that connection, even though those are totally different times, but that way of creating something that is just staying to the truth and just way ahead of their times, and something that is proposing, breaking the molds and going beyond just for whatever is their actual inspiration. Yeah. And again, I see this being the true essence and the energy of what you guys are doing all together with Lady Moon and the Eclipse.
Do you want to go Arlen and Nkoula?
Sure. Yeah, I guess kind of along the lines of what you said. A huge influence for me is Thelonious Monk. Hearing him for the first time, I remember what it felt like to hear him for the first time and realizing, oh, wow, I can sound like anything that I want. Like, I don't have to sound like anything that's happened before, because listen to this being play, and there's nothing like him. There was nothing like him before or after. It opened up that like connection to the cosmos, hearing his music.
Well, you want?
Yeah.
I was just gonna add, like I'm inspired by a lot of different music from around the world. Listen to, music from India and Africa, afrobeats, fela, reggae, and yeah, it was just love like the different elements that they bring into it, or just like voice techniques, or just different sounds that are more so like animal-like, but bring a really deeper connection to like our roots and our heartbeat that are, bring us in a spiritual place, like trance-like. So it's definitely a big influence for me.
This is such an amazing experience to get to learn a little bit about you, the journey that you are doing through this project. Because then when we get to enjoy your music in this presentation tonight at Gateway City Arts here in Holyoke, but also to listen to your music and the upcoming album, it will have even a more deeper meaning, because now we know that little extra piece that sometimes you can feel it through the music, but when you have that context added to it, then it goes way longer. And definitely, I guess for many people who feel those connections, it will be something else to add to the experience of listening to your music.
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you guys feel about this presentation tonight here in Holyoke, and overall what has been your tour?
Yeah, it's nice. This will be our last show of the year, 2019. So, just excited. We've never been here before, so it's also like a new place, a new audience, and it's our last show. So they're gonna get like a nice dose of passion and energy, And yeah, I just feel excited. We also had a meeting before this talking about like our next steps for the future of creating and like pushing the album and stuff like that. So it just feels good to like just to know that we're still going, like, you know, we're still going, and like, you know, let's celebrate tonight. So
Yeah.
Yes, it's perfect.
yeah.
So how can people get to know more about you, to listen to your music, watch your videos, and also to support the creation of your next album, which is, I understand, is on a Kickstarter campaign, right?
Well, actually, the Kickstarter campaign was for 30 days in March.
Okay.
So yeah, that passed.
But we did it.
We
We
made
did
it.
it.
Hey.
We reached our
20K.
goal 3 days before it ended, so that was really great.
Awesome.
The support was incredible. But when the album comes out, you can buy an album,
Yes.
and you can share the songs that you like with your friends, and you know,
Yeah.
follow the journey.
Yeah, sharing the music is such a huge way to support us.
Yeah.
If you find something out there that you like and it connects with you, please share it. Please share it. That really extends our hearts to even more people. So thank you in advance for sharing.
It's possible we may have a pre-order set up too, maybe like a month or few weeks before the album comes out. So, you know, I would definitely say, like, you know, follow us on all of our pages. We have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, we have Twitter, we have Spotify, Bandcamp, SoundCloud. Like, we're literally on every platform that you can imagine. So, you know, whatever you use, definitely, like, you know, look us up, follow us, and that's probably going to be the best way to stay updated. You can also go to our website and like subscribe to our email list, because we do send emails to update people on like music videos and when we're doing our shows, if we're coming to your city during our tour, like things like that. And like, yeah, definitely what Arlen said, share, like let your people know, let your community know, let your friends know, let your family know, like there's this really great, positive, like uplifting music that actually exists in the world, and like, you know, share it with them so that we can keep, you know, successfully spreading our mission of alignment and what is it, like,
It's love, peace, and light.
yeah, love, peace, and light. Like, let's just like let's be right, let's be bright, you know, let's be the best that we can be through positive music and message, and like we're here to bring that for people. So
Well, I don't know if there's anything else that you would like to add.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Really
so
nice,
much
yeah.
for having us, and yeah, check out our latest music video, Le Petit Prince. A little celestial journey for you.
This is such an amazing experience to have you guys coming here for the first time. So welcome to Holyoke, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being so open and to make this amazing music. I hope that you enjoy your performance here, and at the same time, I want to extend invitations so you can feel this like your home. So whenever you have any new stuff coming up, any new music or any new information that you want to share, feel free to reach out, and this will be a platform where we'll be more than glad to continue sharing the work that you're doing.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to reach out.
This is our conversation with the whole band, Lady Moon and the Eclipse, and they are here in Holyoke for their presentation at Gateway City Arts, and we wanted to take the opportunity to talk with them and have a more detailed insight about their music and their project and a little bit of their story, which has been an amazing time. I really want to thank each one of you for this experience, and enjoy this last show of your tour, and looking forward to dance and to enjoy of your music.
Thank
Thank you so much.
With this, we conclude our session here on Radio Plasma that has been recorded at the New England Media Lab studio inside Gateway City Art in Holyoke, Massachusetts. I'm your producer and host, Johan Rashi Vega. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.